Tanyana, baby can one for the banana. Baby you sweeter than kalama, girl you sweeter than shawarma. Oh, Tanyana, baby can one for the banana.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of the Hard Zone. This is season 3, episode 3 of the Hard Zone. My name is Derek Yale, and I would like to thank you so much for joining us here again to bring you the Hard Zone on the Liberia Radio and Television Network. And as always, I ask you please to go on your social media page and follow the LRTN Live on Facebook and YouTube, and also do us a favor by sharing the program on your social media pages. For the next episode, we will be featuring a special guest from ULAA to talk to us about the dual citizenship law in Liberia. So everything about the dual citizenship law will be discussed on this episode on season 3, episode 3 of the Hard Zone. But before we get into that, we will always bring you the current events coming out of Liberia. Liberty's party controversial chairperson, Yombi Kanga, takes exception to a Supreme Court ruling that legitimized most ability chairmanship of the party. And also, as you know, the voter registration process in Liberia is still ongoing. So if you haven't done so already, we urge and encourage you to go and get registered to vote. So that's it for our current event coming out of Liberia. And we will now transition into current event coming out of the United States or diaspora. So now we'll feature a very unfortunate event in America. But before I do that, let me bring on my panelists. I'd like to introduce my panelists on the screen for this episode. Starting with the Lord Mayor of Ventura, Bobby Mitchell Crawford, Martin Boldad, and Mr. Ja Winkin Weir. Let me say welcome to you guys to another episode of the Hard Zone. But before I get to any one of you, let me first of all welcome all of you watching us, wherever you're watching us on YouTube and Facebook. Let me welcome you to another episode. This is your show, and we urge that you participate in this program by leaving us your contribution in the comment section. Where it will mean a lot to us if you can share the program on your Facebook and Instagram, so YouTube or whatever page. We would truly appreciate that. Now let me come to you, Bobby Mitchell Crawford. Welcome to another episode of the Hard Zone.
It is certainly a pleasure to be on the episode of the Hard Zone, or this episode rather of the Hard Zone. Thank you for having me, Derek. As usual, you are an excellent host. To my fellow panelists, it's good to see you guys. Let's get it done.
Thank you very much, Bobby Mitchell Crawford, the Lord Mayor of Ventura. It's always good to have you here. We appreciate your contribution, as always. Mr. Ja Winkin Weir, welcome.
All right, sir. I said, okay. It is nice being back here again. All of you, especially going to talk about dual citizenship in Liberia. It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ja Winkin Weir. And of course, yes, it is a very, very, very fruitful conversation to look forward to, the dual citizenship law conversation in Liberia. So, Mr. Martin Boda, it's your time. Welcome to another episode of the Hard Zone.
Oh, thank you. It's great to be here, and I want to extend thanks to my panelists here tonight, and I appreciate it, and let's get into the argument.
Thank you very much. But guys, let me bring your attention to the current event in America, in the diaspora, that involved the very unfortunate traumatic incident with a black Liberian teenager who was shot by a homeowner after ringing the wrong doorbell, and we have gotten news that he is recovering, and charges were filed Monday of this week against a white man as calls for justice intensify in Kansas City, Missouri. So Ralph Paul Yor is his name, a 16 years old Liberian black kid. And that is a very unfortunate event. And as we follow the story development, we're also seeing footage of him sitting with his lawyer. So that's very good news. He was shot by a homeowner when he went to pick up his siblings and he rang the wrong doorbell. But again, guys, as always, I would like to come to you. What do you think about this story? So let me give you the opportunity, Mr. Ja Winkin, we have to give us your take on this development.
I think that shows that there is no country is perfect. in the world, like in the situation in America. Nobody understands why people are carrying guns when there is no war. It is unfortunate that this young man who went out to pick up a semblant just by mistakenly ringing the doorbell of another home, which is done. It can be done by anybody to have become a victim of a shooting. But thank God that he's alive, and I wish him a speedy recovery. And again, what I can say is that shows that no way is perfect, and this is one of the 9 men in being in America.
Thank you very much. And just by way of information, it is not unlawful to ring a doorbell in the United States of America. I just wanted to put that out there. Let me come to you, Bobby Mitchell Crawford. Give us your take on this development.
I would first of all like to, I think everyone's been doing the same. I don't want to say the sympathize, but they kind of identify with the family for the pain and trauma they are going through. And it kind of warms my heart, 2 days ago when I read on social media that, he was able to leave the hospital, he's home, and he's recovering. And I think that's a good news, because what a lot of people don't realize is that an incident of this nature, if you take a reflection 2 summers ago when we had that kind of an uprising, when there was scores of young black men that were killed, you saw the BLM movement that led to the destruction of properties and demonstration everywhere. So I was kind of a little bit worried that we shouldn't have a situation like that, where there will be collateral damage. People will use the opportunity to engage in unlawful acts. So the fact that he was able to go home and whatever demonstration that was exhibited was timid in a sense, I didn't see rather fall of violence. That's a good thing. But, it really shows the ugly side rather of America. And the local DA or the local police department, one of the spokesperson, she alluded to the fact that Kansas City has, like Texas over here, they has a law that talk about stand your ground, or the castle doctrine. But in this particular incident, it really doesn't apply, because if somebody ring your doorbell, they're not invading your privacy. And according to court record, when he shot the kid through the glass door, he went over him for the second time and unloaded on him for the second time and said to him, "Do not ever come back here." The unfortunate thing was, according to the story, the team ran to another house trying to seek help, and they shut the door in front of him. He ran to the second house, and the homeowner, seeing that he was bleeding, said to him to lie down on the ground while she called for help. It's just one can help but understand the racial component to the whole incident. That's a predominantly white neighborhood. And if you look at the picture of that man, and one of my friends that work in the hospital, the nursing home, she said to me, and this may sound funny, she said, we deal with them all the time. They hold racial insults at us. They call all kinds of derogatory names. So we're not surprised that a man like that, it may not be stereotypical. It is kind of unfortunate. That's the kind of people they are. They have that racial tendency. A young black man is seen as somebody who could come over to the house to burglarize his house. And this is the America we live in, and it's the unfortunate part where you are judged by the color of your skin and not by the content of your character. And just to borrow a phrase from Martin Luther King. And I hope that we can all be able to live in this great United States and just stop, practicing a behavior of that nature, so we all can be in peace.
Thank you very much, Bobby Mitchell Crawford. And let me come to you, Mr. Martin Boda. Before I do, I would just like to, by way of information, the suspect in this unfortunate incident is 85 years old Kansas City resident Andrew Lester. That is the suspect in this unfortunate incident involving Ralph Europe. Now, let me come to you, Martin, Mr. Martin Boda. Give us your take on this incident involving a 16-year-old teenager.
Well, this is just the numerous racist context that we have in the country of America. So it shouldn't be surprising. You are being judged by the color of your skin in this country. So, an 85-year-old man who should be a father, grandfather, shouldn't go through his windows or his door and coming out killing a young man because of the color of his skin. Just tell to the extent for which our society is so polarized and the racial content. So we all have to be mindful. I mean, this is not the first incident in this country. It's always happening every day. So it's unfortunate that it's one of our own, but this is the situation we find ourselves in. We just have to be mindful and watch our surroundings. That's all I can say.
Thank you very much, Mr. Martin Boda, and to you, Mr. Jawin Kinwia and Bobby Mitchell Crawford. And to close on this development, who is Ralph Yor? So I'll just read briefly what I have here of him. He's musically inclined. He's the musically inclined as well as academically driven high school junior. Is described by his family as fantastic kid who was looking forward to visiting West Africa before starting college, and he wanted or he dreamed to be a chemical engineer someday. And also, Ralph, your incident has attracted a lot of controversy. People has been calling for justice, and later this week, the president of the United States, Joe Biden, gave him a phone call where he did talk to the president and the first lady for over an hour, if I'm not mistaken. And also, you will be interested to know that his GoFundMe has raised over $3 million. So, a lot of call for justice has been going out, and people has been actually contributing to that cause. So, if you would like to contribute to the GoFundMe of 16-year-old Ralph Yor, you can do so by typing GoFundMe Ralph Yor on Google, and you will have the opportunity to contribute towards his recovery and also towards the cost to get Ralph Yor the justice that he deserves. But for now, guys, this is.
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, you saw it. This segment already closed. I just wanted to add a little component to it. Our viewer had to understand that this thing is more broader in itself, and in itself, and to just have a brush over, not to provide some meat and potato to this argument, I think would be a disservice to our listeners and to my fellow panelists. Some people are genetically predisposed to the concept that young black men are violent, and this is reinforced by images they see on the television, especially between the ages of 12, 13, and 20. And, I'm not being a devil advocate. That man probably has his own bias. So when he's seeing that teenager on his front porch, the first thing that came to his mind, he doesn't live in my neighborhood. It couldn't be one thing he came to robbing. And, and this is a kind of a thing we'll have to try to erase. So the media has a part to play. Community leaders has a part to play, and people that are trying to make sure our community does better. I used to work for the Minneapolis Urban League in the predominantly ghetto area. And I can personally tell you, as a black man, whenever I drove, that was in Minneapolis, whenever I drove in that area, I used to be fearful of my life. And you may say, well, you're a black man, but that's just a fact. The way I was looked at, because I dressed differently, and some of the conversation and the way I just felt fearful. So imagine somebody of other race. So when we addressing these things, we also have to look at another angle. And how can we make our children? And it's unfortunate that a young scholar of that nature became a victim. But this is something that's the lens most people view young black men. They are violent, they are blogger, or they are raw, or whatever term you want to use, and they are no good for nothing in society. So it is up to us to have to write our story right. I just want to reinforce that.
I appreciate that, Bobby. And since you brought that up, let me ask this question though, and you guys can take a stab at it if you want. Now, Bobby just discussed the racial component to that story. Now, what about the issue of gun control? 85 years old, and this is no pick on elderly people, but people around that age group are prone to mental health or deficiency or what have you. So what is the gun control component or the fear component with this incident? Any one of you can take a stab at that.
I think two things are responsible for this, like Bobby just said about. So I will be very honest here. If you are someone who lives in America and only watches Fox and the other outlets, you are prone to engage in such art. Um, the other thing again is that the gun situation. I want to little bit clarify. It is not all the whites that are really racist. Some are liberal and they don't engage in it. But the gun situation is a nightmare. And what fueling this stuff is the law they call stand your ground, where anybody can come and shoot you and they say they stand their ground based on mass suspicions. Which I said earlier, this is the only this is a bad thing about America has great at its days. So up to now, as a person, it doesn't make sense to me why people have to carry AR-11 or AR-15 to go about to go places. Even the IRA, NRA rather, if they have in their convention, you are not allowed to carry a gun, even though they are the one that's supporting guns. But wherever they are, they never allow anyone to take guns. So this is very terrible. It's just, in my opinion, it's just about the money. And those people, they claim to be pro-life as well. But people who are dying, they giving weapons out to kill people. I don't know which life are they protecting. I've been asking myself question. They protect the life and they are born. Then those who are born, they either in prison or killed. Because if you are incarcerated, what life it is? Because they control most of the prisons in America. America has the largest prison in the whole world. So it doesn't make sense to me.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Jawinkin. We are in guys. I would love to take more inputs from you guys, but we have the guests waiting for us in the back. So for now, if you're watching, y'all, and this is the last on this, y'all's anti-fake Spoonmore has raised more than 3.2 million to support y'all's medical bills and therapy. And any additional fund will go towards his college expenses at Texas A&M and a trip to West Africa, according to his GoFundMe page. So you can also make a contribution, or you can make a contribution to the call for justice by posting y'all's incident on your social media page and calling out for justice. But for now, we will close out on that discussion. So thank you guys so much. When we come back, we'll take a very brief break. And when we come back, we will introduce to you, our audience, our guests for the night to discuss the dual citizenship law in Liberia. But for now, let's take a very brief break. You're watching The Hard Zone. My name is Derek Yale.
Maintaining your vehicle can be a major investment. That's why here at Brothers Auto Care, we pride ourselves on providing professional and reliable auto care at affordable rates. Whether you need an inspection, new brakes, or diagnostic reports, our skillful and experienced mechanics are here for you every step of the way. Call Brothers Auto Care now to schedule your next auto maintenance and repair service. At Brothers Auto Care, we help you drive home with peace of mind.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. You're still here watching The Hard Zone, and we just got through with our current events. And as promised, we're bringing you our special guest from ULAA to talk to us about the dual citizenship law. But before I do that, let me ask of you what I always do ask is for you to please share this program on your social media page. That is on Facebook and YouTube, maybe Instagram. And you share this program and have those family members and friends to have the opportunity to benefit from this discussion as well. On this episode tonight, as was promised, we have our special guest from ULAA to talk to us about the dual citizenship law. And we know this is a very big discussion. If you have any questions or any concerns with this or dual citizenship law, you can leave us that in the comment section, and we will be able to address those concerns as they come up, if we can. But tonight we have the special guest who can do just that. Now let's introduce our guest to you, our audience, and our panelists. From ULAA, Eminent Emmanuel Wettee. It's a pleasure to have you here on The Hard Zone. Welcome, 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 and we hope that this will not be your last time. But again, welcome to The Hard Zone.
Thank you very much. I'm very happy to be here. And all over this show, I'm very happy to be and to share the experience. And I see some great people on the show, so I think it will be fun. So thank you all.
That's all we are here for, to discuss these important issues and have fun with it, and also inform and educate the public. But for tonight, let me have my panelists on the screen. And guys, we have our special guest. So we will, all things to know will be focused on the dual citizenship law, and I would like to encourage you guys to keep your question in this format. We will talk about the history. We'll talk about everything that is challenges that were faced in bringing this law to existence, and we'll take a break in between and also ask you questions about how this law benefits Liberian in the diaspora and also Liberian in Liberia, and also we'll freestyle so you can ask questions as they come up on this dual citizenship law. So, but for now, let me go. Let me get the ball rolling, Mr. Wettee, and ask you, tell us the history, or first of all, introduce yourself to our audience, and also talk to us about the history on this dual citizenship law.
Oh, thank you very much. My name is Eminent Emmanuel S. Wettee. I'm the chairman of the All Liberian Conference on dual citizenship. Prior to 2012, Liberians from across the globe, the diaspora, individually or collectively, have been going to Liberia advocating for dual citizenship. And the issue of dual citizenship didn't start with us. The late Senator Master, Reverend John Lord, Bendy Warner, they all started this whole episode. President Arthur Watson of ULAA in 2005. But in 2012, under the leadership of President Gisler and the Embassy of Liberia in Washington, D.C., we decided to bring all of the groups together. I think Ambassador Solonte was there. So we met in December of 2012. Liberians from Europe, Australia, Ghana, we all met to say, look, let us have a common platform on this advocacy of dual citizenship. So we met and we agreed to form the committee called the All Liberian Conference on Dual Citizenship. And that conference is responsible for the advocacy and everything of dual citizenship. Now, I am the chairman of that group, but the higher decision-making body is called is the partner. Now, the conference comprises of the Union Liberian Association in America, the European Federation of Liberian Association, Liberians in Australia, Liberians in Ghana, Liberians in Canada. We got Colosua that is in the Southwest. Then we got Liberian Advocacy for Change. These are the people that make up the partnership of the All Liberian Conference on dual citizenship. Now, when we started this whole idea, first thing, let me come back.
Mr. Wettee, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but we have a lot of questions tonight. So if you can just give us a summary and have you just okay, because I don't want us talking this out. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, that's the summary. That's where we stop. I mean, that's how we got organized.
Okay, thank you so much. And Mr. Jawinkin, you were saying
It's too low.
Oh, he's saying that you're too low.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, right now. Gotta talk a little louder.
Okay. Now I'll be all right. I was saying that prior to 2012, Liberians in the diaspora were doing their own thing, advocating for dual citizenship. And in 2012, we met in Washington, D.C., and everybody came together. This conference, All Liberian Conference, comprises of the Union Liberian Association in America, IFLA, the Liberian group in Europe, and we got Liberians in Canada, we got Liberians in Ghana, Liberians in Australia, you got Colosua, and you got Liberian Advocacy for Change. So we met in D.C. and organized the All Liberian Conference just to advocate for dual citizenship.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Lan. Let's get the ball rolling. Let me start with you, Bobby Mitchell Crawford.
Yeah, let's go ahead.
Go ahead. You can.
Oh, I'll tell you what. A question I'm going to be followed. Well,
no.
Okay, it's fine. For the first time, I don't. This is, and don't take this the wrong way. I would say ULAA at least they are doing something. That we can see, and we all know the history of this also organization. And I'm being sarcastic here. I have my share of experience with them. But we have. Let me hasten to say that this was a collective effort from well-meaning Liberians, and like an organization that you hear. This is something that is long overdue. And I think Liberia is playing catch up because countries like the Cape Verde, Niger, the Republic of Benin, Zimbabwe, and Zambia, and those are countries that if you look at their GDP and the level of development that they have been able to access as a consequence of having dual citizenship speaks volume. My people are sorrow. There's apartment complex next door occupied by Spanish people so that they can just decide to play their music loud. But I digress. So we're playing catch up. So this is something that is welcoming, and I think this particular law, it nullifies the law that been in place in 1847. That stoked the liberalization policy. That okay, it's my question. I should ask you a question. Yeah, you're right. So my question to you is, you don't need this law is self-explanatory. You don't need a visa if even you're an American citizen to travel. But is you not working with the government of Liberia to have like an office in Monrovia that can be able to gauge the mass exodus of people going here, that business people that have American citizenship, to see if they can establish businesses in Liberia, and if the process in itself can be less difficult, since we have this new dual citizen law that has been passed. Because I know there'll be a lot of Liberians that have been here for years. They have the American mannerism and American way of doing things. For the very first time, they want to go do business. So are you guys working with the government to identify them and to see how they can make the process less stressful for them?
Actually, we do not have a physical office in Liberia, but we are working with the government of Liberia to make sure that the diaspora Liberian are given the best opportunity to invest into the country as they come back. And at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, there is a diaspora office that hand out, when you go home, you go to that office, they will be able to help you out. One, Dr. Nathaniel Toole is the coordinator.
Thank you.
Do they have a website? Do they have, it's one thing to have, we have somebody
what
there.
I would do, I don't know if they have a website. What I would do, I will send the information to Joe that he can share with the group.
All right, that would be awesome. Okay, subsequent question will follow. I'll allow my fellow panelists to take it away.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Bobby Mitchell Crawford. And let me ask you a follow-up question to my previous question. I would like to know the genesis of the dual citizenship law, and from what you said, that Liberians from the diaspora came together on the All Liberian Conference on Dual Citizenship. Now, from that conversation, why was there a need for you guys to advocate for that cause?
Thank you.
Go ahead.
Yeah, thank you very much. I wanted to answer your question before you asked, but our constitution is very silent on the issue of dual citizenship. In Article 28, it just says that if you are born to one parent, you can decide at the age of maturity. In 1973-74, the naturalization law was changed.
My man, you just told my tongue on, man.
Probably they made the guest here tonight.
Yeah. The law was changed. It became the Alien and Nationality Law in 1973 and was approved in 1974. That law listed a lot of things. But Section 22.1 and 22.2 is on citizenship. It listed and said, if you naturalize in another country, if you voted in another country, if you fought war in another country, or you renounce your Liberian citizenship, you automatically not a Liberian. That's the key. You automatically lose your Liberian citizenship. So, the story is very long, and the law was very silent. Imagine 1974. You know how about the law? The law was very silent until after the Civil War. Our own people begin to use the law. As diaspora Liberians begin to return home and participate in the process, they say, "Oh, Liberia does not support dual citizenship," and that's how this whole thing came about. Some people were going home buying land in the name of the parents. Remember, the Constitution of Liberia says that only a Liberian can own a land. Therefore, if you had a land before and now you are not a Liberian, automatically you don't own that land. So our people say, look, hey, let's just go ahead. You keep quiet, don't say anything, buy the land using your entity name, your cousin name. And we said no. Let's go back to 2014. Dr. Elizabeth Davis, who was the president of the Autonomous University, she was appointed as Minister of Education. Our confirmation hearing, they asked her whether she had an American passport. She said yes. Guess what happened? The confirmation hearing was cut off because she's a Liberian. She's an American. So, to not waste time, in 2019, the 2017 T.S. Jallo, challenged the constitutionality of the law. Because the law says that you automatically will lose your citizenship, right? So, and our constitution says everybody is entitled to due process. So Jallo challenged the law in 2017. On the 23rd of December 2019, the Supreme Court ruled in Jallo's favor that everybody must go through due process. So right now in Liberia,
what was Jallo's challenge again, if you don't mind?
He challenged the constitutionality of the Alien and Nationality Law, section 22.2.
Okay.
He challenged that.
Okay, go ahead.
That's the section that says if you naturalize, you automatically lose your Liberian citizenship. There's no due process. That it didn't mention due process. So Jallo said, look, I'm a citizen of Liberia. If you want to take my citizenship away, I'm entitled to due process. So the Supreme Court, after 2 years, from 2017 to 2019, ruled in his favor. So many of our friends say, oh, but you know what I mean? It's okay. Why you guys advocating for dual citizenship? The Supreme Court said, look, I'm a Liberian until somebody can prove that I'm not a Liberian. Yeah, you are right. You are absolutely correct. But what if somebody that have the resources, that have the will and the means? If you want Liberia and I don't like you, I can say, look, you know what I mean? I can challenge your citizenship, call the ambassador of your country, call the immigration chief to say, how does this guy enter the country? And guess what happened? You'll be out of luck. So we decided, look, we need to go ahead and still pursue this thing.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Go ahead. I'm sorry for cutting you. I'll tell you.
Yeah. So during the entire period, President Salih, we tried, it didn't work. When President Weah came up, we tried, and with his leadership and with the Senate and the House and all the support of everybody, we had to go through. Now, this law that was passed, the beauty of it, if you are a Liberian, you are a Liberian. A woman.
Let me hold you right there, and let me entertain question. I'm sorry, but let me entertain question from our other panelists, Mr. John Winkin. We give the and I'm sorry for cutting it off, but I don't want you to.
Fine.
Okay, go ahead, Mr. Weir. Give a question.
Okay, yes. My question will be very brief and specific. I want for you to in the form of a bullet point, tell our listening public and other Liberians who are national in America what is the benefit of the dual citizenship. What was not done that it has fixed now?
Thank you. First, any child that is born by a Liberian woman any child, irrespective of the pigmentation and nationality of the father, that child is a Liberian at birth.
One.
Before the law,
I say one.
that's one.
Mm-hmm.
The next thing is that you are entitled to all your rights and privileges as a Liberian. You can vote. You can own land in your own name. You can get your national ID card. Right now, as we speak, Liberians are returning home, participating in the voting process, getting the national ID card. People are buying land in your own name. You don't have to go through your sister or your brother. So that's two. The next thing is visa. If you are traveling to Liberia and you have your Liberian passport,
And like American citizen at the same time.
yeah, you have your American citizenship, you have your American passport.
No, you can't have two passports if you have your American passport.
That's what I'm coming now. You cannot, there's no way you can show two passports to the airline. So that's not the argument. You can take your American passport and have it in your pocket, go to the airline, show your Liberian passport.
Why would you show Liberian passport again?
Probably allow the guests to continue.
Let me explain.
You are going to Liberia, right? So if you go to the airline, they will say, where's your passport? The airline does not know you're an American citizen. You take your Liberian passport and show your Liberian passport, you go through the process. You go through the airline, you're going to go what's the route of the trip. You get to Liberia, you get your luggage and everything, and you go. Nobody asks you any question. When you're coming back, yeah, you show both your American passport and your Liberian passport, and the immigration guy will stamp your passport to show that you're in Liberia and you come back. So the issue of visa is out. You know how to get visa.
Do you have a follow-up question, Bobby or Mr. Jawinkin?
Yeah. So yeah. Because I think this is where I wanted for more people to get clear. Now you got American passport, you got Liberian passport. So if you travel with a Liberian passport, no visa required. If you're getting Liberia, you can show your Liberian passport to register to vote, for example.
Yes. So you are a Liberian, the another person.
Right. So what it has removed is that Liberians, especially those that were born in Liberia, left the country, naturalized in other country, now can no longer lose their Liberian identity.
That's correct. So once a Liberian, always a Liberian.
So, and just to follow up on that, if you're Liberian and you got a foreign country citizenship, you do not need, if with the dual citizenship law, you do not need a visa. You do not need to apply for a visa to travel to Liberia.
You don't need a visa if you have your Liberian passport.
The Liberian passport, yeah.
Liberian passport. Okay, that's
you have to have a Liberian passport, because when you travel to the airline, you only use your Liberian passport, and you go through the process.
So all of you should get Liberian passport, guys.
You're coming back. Remember, you're coming back. You can't use your Liberian passport because it doesn't have a visa in there. So then you show the immigration. We met with the foreign ministry. We met with the immigration chief, and those things are already been settled. Liberians are traveling freely, you know.
So that is current. Liberian can travel is current. Okay.
My last follow-up question.
Yeah.
That is the benefit. And I think I read the last paragraph that says that under this law, Liberians who are dual citizens cannot contest for elected position and being appointed to certain ministerial position. Am I right?
Mr. Jawinkin, if you can hold off to that question, I will let for us to talk about that later on in the show, if you don't mind. I'll come back to you for that question. But let's come to you now, Mr. Boulder. You can give us your question. You can give your question to the guest, or if you have a follow-up on all of the questions that were asked before, you can do that before asking your question.
No, I just want to ask my question. Mr. Wettee, my question to you is you did mention about Liberian women or Liberian born outside. If they do say that children automatically become citizens of Liberia, Does the
Yes.
rule that state, does it restrict them from holding positions such as finance minister because they are not naturalized people? Are they restricted under the law?
Yeah, there are some restrictions under the law for a Liberian. Now, let me, for the sake of the argument, we had two kinds of Liberian. Under two, we have natural born Liberian, and we had naturalized Liberian. Right? So the law say a Liberian. So it doesn't matter whether you're naturalized or you're natural born. If you so desire to hold your foreign passport, your foreign citizenship, you cannot be Minister of Finance, you cannot be Governor of the Central Bank, you can't be Minister of Defense. However, let me say to you, and then you can check the law. There is a limitation on inquiry. The law also says you can ask me when I go to confirmation hearing. Do you understand? So if the president appoint me as governor of the national bank, you can ask me that question. So read that the law is eliminated itself.
Okay, Mr.
Let me get
You
my
wanna,
follow up.
Mr. Boda,
Yes.
I want us to hold up to that part of the conversation, to the final stage of the conversation, because I know where that will end up going. So, Mr. Wettee, if you don't mind, I would like to bring us back.
That's fine.
Bring us back to the history of this dual citizenship law. Now, you mentioned that you guys advocated for this law during the previous regime, but you guys weren't successful. And
Yes.
it became successful during the current administration. Now, my question is, or if you can tell our audience, how long have you guys been advocating? And what were the challenges, and why do you think this law did not pass in the previous administration, but it was successful in this administration?
Yeah. From our history, the advocacy of the law started 2005.
2005. Okay.
Yeah, and we started it as a structure in 2012. Prior to 2012, everybody was doing their own thing, but in 2012, we organized the All Liberian Conference on Dual Citizenship. The challenges that we had, look, this is an honest conversation. It was us against them. People felt that we in the diaspora were coming to take their jobs, coming to take their resources, and they had all kinds of things to say about us. As those that didn't like dual citizenship, they say, oh, when you allow these guys to come, the white man will take over. And we ourselves were not good enough to message ourselves. We were not, we made a lot of mistakes. So when we sat down and said, okay, look, what we have to tell the people is that we are talking about Koli that was born in Lofa. We're talking about Tape that was born in Sano. We're talking about Manzo that was born in Cape Man. These people came here to America or went to Australia or Canada that became citizens of this country. These are the people we're talking about. And that began to resonate with the Liberian people. So once a Liberian, always a Liberian. We are not talking about dual citizenship for a white person. We're talking about dual citizenship for the ordinary Liberian. And the political will was not there. Let me it's kind of hard to say these things, but since we're on the platform, let's say it. President Salif, for 12 years, we went after her. In the diaspora, I've visited Liberia, I don't know how many times. The political will was not there to take the steps. President Weah came, the aid of the Senate and the House, and his legal advisor, Councilor Ajibabona, the political will was there. The will was there, and he invested his political capital in this thing. The Liberian Senate and Liberian House did extremely well. We can go on and on. In the Senate, it's also good to give credit to people who want to give credit to our Darius Data, Councilor Senator Sherman, Community We said, Milton TJ, the president pro tem, these people really made it in the house. You have a Karis Gray, you got the Speaker of the House, you have the Deputy Speaker, and you have Conor Wilson, who is the chairman of the Judiciary Committee, and even the Secretary of the Senate in the same way. A lot of people came together with Councilor Ajibor Bonan, who is the legal advisor to the president. These people and other people came together, and they had the will, they had and the means, and they went ahead, and that's what make it easier. But our messaging was very different, and also we participated in community affairs. We went to the hospital, we donated a lot of things. We encouraged our people to participate in the community, because what was happening is that the people saw us differently, and we decided to go into their life, make an impact into what they were doing. So that helped, But key, the political will was not there. But under President it happened. So on July 22nd of 2022, this begin the law of the land after President signed it when the House and Senate passed the bill.
Thank you very much.
The key thing I want us to understand, the feeling was us against them. And I mean, look, I'm telling you, during the advocacy, our friends that we ate with, our friends that we went to school with, they would look in your eyes and tell you, man, you're not a Liberian man. We're fighting the war, you left us. Why you want to come? How can you solve two goals?
That must have been really difficult. You guys did extremely well in advocating for that cause. And the us versus them is actually where my follow-up question will be concerned. But before I do that, let me welcome Mistress Elizabeth Collins. Thank you for joining us. We have Mr. Eminent Emmanuel Wettee from ULAA here today, answering questions and telling us about the dual citizenship law in Liberia. Now back to you, Mr. Wettee, the us versus them. That was one of the challenges in the previous administration. My question is, how did you counter that mentality in this administration for you to be successful in having that law passed? And you also make mention that the president invested political capital in this cause. Do you care to tell us how, by what means? And you also mentioned that the difference between the previous administration is the political will. If you can expand on that, I will appreciate that. So the three questions, just to break it down: the us versus them mentality. How did you counter that to become successful in your advocacy? And also the president investing political capital. You want to expand on that, and also political will as well. So Mr. Wettee, that's my follow-up to you.
All right. The anti-dual citizenship group was very successful to tell the people that, if you allow these guys to come and become citizens, the white men will come, the Indian, the Chinese, they will take over. They made it in a way that we were advocating for the white to become citizens. And we said no. We are talking about the ordinary colleague that were born in Lofa. We're talking about the Tapet that were born in Sano. We're talking about the Manzo that were born in Kema. So we brought it home. We said, look, wait a minute. You are here in Liberia right now. What if you want a DV and you go across and you become a citizen? The law will impact you. So people begin to really see it. And the other thing that we did, we took community projects, the hand pump. We involved the hand pump. We went to the hospital. We donated medical material. We identify ourselves with the need of the people. So the people begin to see, but these guys are not white people. They are the same people ever. And they begin to understand that once a Liberian, always a Liberian. And we told them that, look, with the DV issue, their law will impact you tomorrow. And when we started talking to them directly, then they begin to understand that, but these guys are the same. The county organizations did extremely well. Most of the county organizations have projects in the local counties. The Illuminati Association here, they did extremely well too. They are sponsoring students in the various schools where they came from. So people begin to see us differently, and that was very good. And because of that, the lawmakers they were free out. They said, but if you are doing something in my district, then of course I will give you a vote. Now, when I say the political will and the political capital, is that when you talk about dual citizenship at the time, everybody said you are bringing the white man. So to even have the discussion, President Weah, except for one State of the Union address, all of the addresses he had a paragraph or two about dual citizenship. And that's why I talk about political will and political capital. Those that were in the House and Senate, they too had the political capital and the will because they saw what we were doing. Let me tell you what the truth. We invested $500 million in that country last year. People are seeing the impact of diaspora Liberia.
Is that United States dollar or
United States dollars? Yeah,
500 million.
United States dollar. People are seeing the impact. All the local organizations, the tribal organizations, they are doing something in their counties, in the county or in the district. The alumni associations are doing something. Every medical mission, Liberians are doing a lot. So that helped the mind. And people begin to say, okay, we are the same. Look, yes, I'm not going to come here and say everything was smooth. Some of us from the diaspora went back home and we misbehaved. And that was counted against the issue at the Kakron. The people say, oh, you people have not, you people had, when you come, you'll see the money and go back to America. That was an issue for us. We had to say, look, you can't hold everybody responsible for one person act. But we want to be very grateful to our Liberians in the diaspora for the individual contribution to the family, to the churches, to the district, to the counties, and every level of society.
Thank you.
Liberians are making a serious impact. And that helps us to change the mind of the people.
Thank you very much, Mr. Wettee. I would like to come to you, Mrs. Collins. But if any one of you guys have a follow-up question to all of the questions that were previously asked, feel free to interrupt me or just put your hands up. I'll recognize you. But if not, let me come to you. Go ahead, Bobby.
Yeah, you go to Mrs. Collins, but man, this is the high zone. This is not PBS. I personally, I exclusively read the dual citizenship stuff, and I know the advantages and disadvantages. But what I wanted to key on, that has to do with that law that being in place in 1847. That the 1986 Constitution itself wasn't very clear, was very ambiguous on it, and there was no clarity provided to it. And that has to do with the internationalization law that specifically bars people of non-Negro descent not to own property in Liberia. You and I know, the thing about putting my land, buying in my auntie's name is just fiasco. You can be an American citizen, and that's a fact. You can buy land over there. Everybody in Liberia know you're Liberian or you're American. It's not enforceable. So the benefit in itself would be on the visa component to it. But I really wanted to see if the people that was in support of this bill who are addressed the whole thing that has to do with Negro descent, because that's the investment component to it. Because the law is discriminatory. You are leaving out potential investors because people that can only own land are people of Negro descent. I just wanted to add that there.
And the Lord Mayor, let me talk to you directly. I graduated from Bachelor teenage. I graduated from BWR. I was born on the bypass. My father and mother from Sando.
Talk about baby.
Yeah. They could not accept me. I came to the country now, but they could not accept me. I have to fight for my classmates.
You're breaking up.
Can you hear me? Hello?
Yeah, but you're breaking in and out.
Oh, I'm sorry. Can you hear me? Okay. I said that I was born on the bypass, capital bypass, Bachelor community. I went to Bachelor teenage. I graduated from BWI. I went to LU. My friends that I went to school with could not accept me as a Liberian. I fought hard to be recognized by my friends. Do you really think they will accept a white man? So the advocacy is to first recognize. I come in, sir. These things are step by step. Advocacy is not an event; it's a process. Now that we are recognized, the generation after us can advocate for the removal of the Negro clause. I agree with you, but advocacy is not an event; it's a process.
But
if
real
I find
quickly,
it difficult, if I find it difficult,
yeah, I understand. Then let's do little justice to this because the people need to know this.
If you want, I'm sorry. If you want to hold off to your follow up, let me just get Mistress
I'm going to do
Collins.
follow up.
I'll come to you and Bobby. Let me get Mistress Collins first question in, so we'll be at a sweet spot.
So calling you a thing, man.
Go ahead.
Well, I just want to recognize the brother over there. I'm a big brother. I'm a senior over there. So let me recognize the senior brother over there first there.
Oh, how are you?
Then I will use to you. That corner. I know everybody.
I recognize you.
Who is this, Mrs. Collins? This is the corner you're talking.
From BWR.
Yes, but I just want to register my thing. I'm sorry I had to come in late because I just came from work and I had to join you.
We'll find you.
Yeah, I'm sorry. But I really appreciate, I really wanted to come to this. I couldn't miss it today because we got some questions. If the question that I'm going to ask, I don't know whether my colleagues have already asked the question, but the question that I wanted to ask, so if I'm a United States citizen by paper, and then I want to travel home, going home, you have to get your visa, you got to pay for visa and all of that. But now that we have the dual citizenship, do I still need visa to go home?
If you travel with your American passport, you need visa. However, if you do not travel with your American passport, you travel with your Liberian passport, you do not need visa. So if you are traveling and you have your American passport and Liberian passport, you put your American passport in your back pocket, you take your Liberian passport, go to the airline, and go straight to Liberia. You get now, nobody will bother you, they'll welcome you and everything. Coming back, you take your American passport, it can be let me not keep saying American passport because some of the guys in Australia, Europe, they get offended. You take your foreign passport, and your Liberian passport, and immigration will stamp your passport and you can get it right back. So you don't need visa if you travel.
Immigration, when you ask me, because when you leave in the stamp in there, when you come in the stamp in there, so when they not ask me, which passport did you use to go?
No, when you go in, they don't stamp look at your passport. They don't stamp your passport. Yes, your Liberian passport. But when you're coming back, our immigration will stamp your American passport to show that you're coming from Liberia. They will stamp it. Okay. So there's no problem. And this is current as we speak.
Thank you, Mr. Wettee. Let's come to you for your follow-up, Mr. Jawin. And then we'll take Bob.
Okay, I have two quick follow-up questions. It has to do with a lady having the opportunity who was a Liberian bearing a foreign child, and the child becoming automatically a Liberian. What's about men? Does that also cover men?
Well, in the history of Liberia, it's only the father that passes citizenship over to the child. So the father has been doing that for years. That's the issue about Liberia. Women just got that right as of the 22nd of July.
Okay, so it's applicable. Okay. My last quick question is that it has to do with the stamping of the passport when returning to Liberia. Because I do a lot of immigration work. So does it mean the two passports will be stamped, the Liberian passport and the American passport while returning?
Well, yes. When you're returning, you will show your passport. You give the two passports to the immigration officer, and
so both will be stamped.
Yeah, both will be stamped. Yes, I did. Both will be stamped.
Thank you very much. Probably Mr. Crawford, give us your follow up, and then we will take a break.
Real quick, basically, we know now. This is no secret. There are a lot of Liberian government officials that are American citizens. This I know because I personally know some of them, and there are even rumors that Ellen Johnson Sirleaf is an American citizen. So, who can really be able to gauge this whole thing about who's not Liberian, who's not American? Because I understand the government going to lose revenue by not processing visa application. So why can your organization or the diasporan here that did the whole exercise and make this a possibility? put pressure on our lawmakers so we can actually address that people of Negro descent. Because let me tell you, here's the reason why. The Jeffersonian Constitution that America has, that is considered the greatest document of all time, when it was crafted, it wasn't perfect, but there are a series of amendments. So that the time is now, since there's a political will. How can we pressure the government now to see they can erase that? The whole descent of people of Negro descent are the only people that are supposed to have land, because that's the thing, in my opinion, that would be more helpful and investment incentive, for lack of a better term. What do you think?
I agree with you, Lord Mayor. But I want to say first, try to get in the house. We just got in the house. The people are rejected us for years. The mentality is that want to make white men to be citizens. So the first thing is to get us into the house. And the next generation can pick up from there. Because
whoa, next generation, no.
He said next generation.
Come in.
How we can beat it now?
Can I say something?
Go ahead.
We know how the pattern to advocate on this thing. The advocacy is open to all Liberians. You know, you can improve on what we did. You know, Moses did not enter the promised land with the children of Israel. Joshua did. So we play our part.
But you already have the organization. Why you want to be doormat? You can walk and chew gum at the same time. You don't have to say I want to open the door. It doesn't have to propose it.
Yeah, I agree with you. We don't have a problem with that. What we're also seeing is that we just got through with this. We're going to evaluate ourselves, look at the weaknesses, look at the strength, and come up with another strategy. Because I can tell you, since 2012, what was in the mind of the people that were want to make white men to be citizens. Look, the Liberian, for some reason or another, if the year Dual Citizenship, they all year white men. We have to work harder to change that mindset. So it's possible. I'm not saying it's not possible. I'm just saying that probably maybe the fatigue, the advocacy fatigue is in us now. So if you have the strength, you can join the advocacy, and you know, we need younger people like you guys to come and take over for us, and let's see what happens next. But I do agree with you. The issue of Negro descent is a problem, but we play our part, and I think the platform is still open. The stage is still there. That those who believe a white man becoming citizen, we're gonna start an advocacy. There's nothing wrong with that.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Wettee. And those of you watching us, you can leave us your comments in a comment section. Also, if you have any questions or concern for our guests, you can leave that in the comment section as well. But we will be taking a very brief break, and when we come back, we'll continue on this conversation, the dual citizenship law in Liberia. You're watching the Hard Zone on the Liberia Radio and Television Network. My name is Derek Yale, and we will see you after the break.
Hey there. Many Liberians are members of social clubs, 501c NGOs, and school alumni. Many Liberians are trying to open their own 501c NGOs, home care agencies, and social clubs. Does your organization have a professional website? Does your web platform have the right wording and content to attract grants? Hopefully you're not running your organization only through social media. There's a more professional route. You need an online space where you can craft a positive message about your organization, making your home health agency more credible, which will increase your chances to receive grants. We'll build you a responsive platform for 501c organizations, healthcare agencies, and other types of organizations. We'll provide you with full website maintenance, membership sign-in, private charts, Facebook and WhatsApp integration, live video feed for all your meetings and special occasions, a dashboard for members to see all the activities, and email and text auto reminders for meetings. We'll build with donors and 501cs in mind, and will help you solicit grants and automatic membership due collections. Building you this amazing platform will only be a membership fee of $19 a month. Call or email us now. Let's upgrade your website. Home health agencies and small businesses, you owe it to your company to project the best image possible, and we can make it happen. Visit www.tiamit.com or call 215-966-8679. Ask for Tommy.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. You are still here watching the Hard Zone on the Liberia Radio and Television Network. Tonight we have from ULAA, Mr. Wettee talking to us on the dual citizenship law in Liberia. So would like to transition right back into having that conversation with him. So I'd like to bring back my team of panelists and we can get right back into the discussion. And as always, I'd like to encourage you to please share the program on your social media pages. That is on Facebook and YouTube. And the network to follow is the Liberian Radio and Television Network, or LRTN Live for short, on Facebook and YouTube. But now let's get right back into it and let me get the ball rolling again to you, Mr. Wettee. You talk about, I would like to go back to the history on the bill. That's where most of my questions will be on. Now, earlier you mentioned some lawmakers that contributed to this bill, including Montreal County Senator Darius DeLong. Now, my question is: were there any lawmaker that stood as roadblock that objected to the passage of this law? Do you care to name any of one of two or lawmaker that stood as a roadblock to this law? I can't hear you. You're muted.
Can hear you.
Yeah, I said I mentioned a lot, but you choose to mention the name. So
that's what I could remember. I'm sorry. Okay, go ahead.
That's okay. I appreciate that. No problem. Mm-hmm. I don't want people to say that only name I mentioned. But just
no, that was me. That was on me.
Okay, thank you, sir. Well, when we started, we had a roadblock from the senator from Maryland. Oh, I just forgotten his name, but I remember very well. He said that we come here to take the gas, the oil. We come here, all kinds of things he had to say about us. Even Senator Prince Johnson said the same thing. But let me say one thing. Prince Johnson was one of those that voted in our favor. There were 25 senators that voted, and Prince Johnson was one. So some of the senators were opposing it, but later on they changed their mind because of the lobbying and the work from the local organization, the NEMA organization, the Grand Guild organization, the Sounder organization. These people, they saw the work that people were doing, so that changed their mind and they voted in favor of the bill. But from the beginning, it was not easy.
Thank you very much. You did answer my question. Thank you. And I do not have any follow-up. Anyways, let's come to you, Let me start with you, Mr. Boda. Martin Boda, give us your question for the guest.
Yeah, man, Bobo on the show, man.
Yeah,
please don't start with Martin to never.
It's all right. It's all right. Bobby was talking, let you talk.
Don't let Bobby distract you, please. Go ahead.
I'm not distracted at all. Mr. Wettee, my question was, if you said if a Liberian lady have a child, whatever way they have, when they are Liberian, that child automatically become a Liberian. And my question to that is, if a Liberian woman have a child by the white man, and with the Negro descent clause in our constitution, how do you reconcile the two?
Thank you very much. During my last visit to Liberia, this is an issue the immigration, the judiciary branch, and the Senate are discussing in private. Yes, that issue, we have a constitutional conflict. So they are discussing that. There's a committee that looking at that to see how they can reconcile that particular portion. But for now, we are going with the wordings that any child that is born by a Liberian woman, that child is a Liberian. But they said when that issue come about, if the father is a white person, then they will exclusively deal with that. But there's a committee working on that to reconcile that. That is a constitutional issue, and we all are aware of that.
But why can't they allow the child to make the decision when they're 18 and above?
Yeah, what happens is that the issue of race, the issue of Negro descent is constitutional. And you can only make a change in the constitution by a
when you make the
referendum.
amendment.
Yeah, make an amendment. So anybody just can't do it. So that's the problem. So we're hoping that in the next referendum, we are going to address the issue of Article 28. Article 28, that's where the Negro thing comes from. But let's be mindful, and we have to understand the thinking of the ordinary Liberian. You know, we can come here and enjoy because we eat 3 times a day, we eat 4 times a day, we ride the best of car, we live our life. But you
Radu as well.
You got to think about the ordinary Liberian, how they're thinking. And these are the voters, these are the people that make it. So when you're advocating, you got to listen to what they're saying. Their thinking is that having a white man, they are already suffering, they already have problems, a white man will kind of take everything away from them. That they're thinking. And you can't erase that. So you have to work with them gradually, make them to understand that this is not the case. You can't come and parachute on them. You can't do that. Because these are the people that we have. If some of us are in Liberia, let's tell us. We are not going to accept that. Because our thinking, we came on the side before our thinking changed. So let us be mindful. Let us educate the people. Let us make them to be aware. Tell them the benefit and tell them that this is the process. Other countries are doing it. But we can't come and parachute anything on them. So, you know, let's do it gradually. Gradually, you know, we'll be okay. It took us, since 2005, it took us that year to even be recognized in 2022. Since 2005. So one more. You know, we can, advocacy is not an event, it's a process.
You know, even though it's not my time to talk here, but
well, go ahead.
I think Liberians is the education. We have to be able to educate them. But when you travel all of Liberia or you travel any part of the world, that's what traveling does. It changes your mind, it changes your perspective, it changes the way you do things. And it's our orientation. So when I go home every year. I'm going home every year. But what I tell my people is that don't blame me. That's my orientation. I've been in America 25, 26 years. That's my orientation. And when you travel, your mindset and the way you do things have to change. You can't come from Bongo Nima and come here and live like somebody from Bongo Nima again. No, you want to change. You want to change your perspective. It's not that you're making you want to be superior over anybody, but the problem here is things have to change the way we do things in Liberia. Because that's you can't continue to do one thing over and over and expect different results. The same thing over and over and expect different results. That's it comes to benefit. The Liberian, when you look at the Western Union record, Liberia has spent more than I don't know how many dollars, thousands, millions of dollars to Liberia to help our people. When you go to Liberia, or before you even go to Liberia, so asking the money to nobody because they're ungrateful. But by the time somebody call you, you better send that money. We're working for them here. You know, we are working for them here. But it's an education, like you just said. We have to continue to educate them. Education gradually, they will fall into it. And the lawmaker too supposed to come up with a policy that, you know, if they have some skepticism or whatever, because any meaningful Liberia, when you leave from Liberia, you come to America, your mind will change. Because the opportunities are here. And that's the reason why when you come here, you want to be able to help yourself and help your people back home. So, but they only say that because they're not here. And if the American embassy stand in the middle of Broad Street today and start issuing visa, the whole Liberia will be empty. Liberia will be empty. Trust me. So you don't blame me. It's my orientation. Or the people, when they come from uptown, they think they're better than people. I said, no, man, people, it's not that. It's just our orientation.
And my sister, let me say this to you. And now that we're on the platform, we share our experiences. Let's be honest. I mean, I can say it. some of our friends not treating the poor well. Let me be friends with you guys. Some of other from the diaspora go Liberia, our behavior very different. You know, we expect that somebody from the diaspora will be okay. Yes, not all the apple is good. There's one apple, you know, in the basket that is not good. So our people take that one apple that is not good and put it on every one of us. These are some of the challenges that we have. So we together will educate our people, make them to be aware, and gradually they will understand. Right now, I can tell you, the issue of dual citizenship is mute. The Liberian people have accepted it. They know that we are all Liberians, that the brothers and sisters coming back home, they have accepted it. Now that they have accepted it, then we can go to the next step on Negro.
Right.
But, you know, let's do it gradually. Let's do it gradually. I mean, it's not an easy thing. It's not an easy thing to work for. I mean, I can tell you, I told my classmates, I went for a funeral, and my classmates from BWR questioned my sincerity and my loyalty to Liberia. How can you get two goals? How you make that kind of argument? You know, you want to keep your American passport and keep your Liberian passport. You can't serve two goals. But hey, when I send my control number, you can't question me though.
You can't question me.
When I said, you know, so but these are things. Advocacy is not an event, it's a process. So we'll gradually get there.
That's true. I must commend your organization. You're really doing well. My question to you is, what is the way forward?
Well, the way forward.
Now that we have gone step one. So what is step two?
The way forward, we want to constitutionalize this whole concept of once a Liberian, always a Liberian. Because remember now, it's just a law that was changed. It's not in the Constitution. Okay. So our next step is the constitutionalize and also all the country voting. We want to advocate for all the country voting. So these are the two things that we have in our mind. But the first thing is the constitutionalize the whole issue of dual citizenship. We redefine Article 28. Then we start advocating for all the country voting. Because, I mean, most countries are doing it. I'm not supposed to go to for a vote. I mean, the technology is available, everything is available that you can be here and vote in the Liberian election. You know, those for Senegal are doing it, the Kenyans are doing it, other people are doing it. So going forward, the next step is to constitutionalize the concept of once a Liberian, always a Liberian. Then we talk about all the country voting.
Okay. Thank you very much. Before I come to you, Mr. Jai Winkin, I just would like to have you inform Mr. Collins that you'll be receiving your letter for funds. You weren't recognized and you asked questions and you had you were recognized follow-up.
If you could understand Loma, I was gonna speak Loma to you, but you can't understand it, so I'm not gonna say
that. Someone in the audience can understand it, so you can
somebody
somebody listen.
You know, when somebody come later, I want to catch up. I want to follow.
Forgive her, yeah.
We have take it from here.
Okay. I think I just want to repeat my question that I asked before, and it has been answered. That has to do with the question of election and appointment. Because when I read the last part of that, if you were under this new arrangement, if one were seeking election, he or she needs to resign a year prior to the election. Then when it comes to appointment, I see that they made mention of defense, finance, and other ministry that one cannot be appointed to. So I just wanted more clarification on that. Three ministries, right?
Yeah, 3 ministries.
Okay.
Ministry of Defense. Let me make sure I get it straight. Governor of the National Bank. And 1 second, it should be. I'm looking at it right now.
So, John, to end my question, what is the fear? Why are they afraid for which they bring about this? Then, if I look at it, I can give an example of one of the benefits of dual citizenship. I think the problem we have in Liberia is the enforcement of the law. For example, Chucky Taylor right now is in prison in America, not because he committed a crime in America, but he committed a crime in Liberia because he was a dual citizen, or he was a American who did something in Liberia. And that's one of the things that I always talk about when it comes to dual citizenship. You can always be held accountable whenever you commit a crime by the American government if you are both American and the citizen of another country.
Yes. In terms of fear, when we did our research, and I stand corrected, except the state of Israel, I want to make it very clear, except the state of Israel, every other dual citizenship law that we found has some restrictions. The Ghanaian got restrictions. The Sierra Leonean got restrictions. The Nigerian got restrictions. So these restrictions were put there by the lawmakers, maybe by the concern of their citizen, that you can't be defense minister, you can't be governor of the national bank, and you can't be a finance minister. These are yet things that the limitations they put in there.
Even though those who are seeing the money, they are Liberians, though, not foreigners. Those who are corrupt, the corruption that's affecting the country, not because they are dual citizens, but they are unpatriotic Liberian that are corrupting the country.
Yeah, but equally so, the law says, if you look at section 2 of the law, it says that you can't ask me during confirmation hearing. You can't ask me. So the law is eliminated that part. It says
you can't ask why. If
you can't ask me if they appoint me as Minister of Defense or Governor of the National Bank, you can't ask that question. If an American citizen or not, you can't ask that question. Like the date to Dr. Elizabeth Davis in 2014 when she was appointed as Minister of Education, they asked her whether she had an American passport, and she said yes. You can't ask that question in confirmation hearing. You can't do that. So right there.
But the way if they ask, if they ask, I mean you can plead the fifth, right?
Yeah, but the law is saying that you can't even ask the question.
But then why did they ask her?
No, at the time.
Let me.
This law came in effect last year.
Okay.
Your whole in 2014.
All right.
So prior to July 22nd of 2022, they go ask you the question: do you have a foreign passport? But this law is saying you can't ask me. You can't ask anybody. So the law is saying eliminate that proportion. Don't ask, don't tell.
Right.
Mr. Wettee.
Yes.
Again, my next conversation with you is regarding the process of is anything in place at the Liberian Embassy or within the United States Bureau Consulate that can facilitate you wanting to be a Liberian citizen through that process?
Say that again?
I said, is there anything in process for you as a Liberian who want to be American, want to be a Liberian citizen, naturalized Liberian, want to be a citizen? Can you go to the embassy and process your papers?
Yeah, you should. The law said the consulate. Yeah, you should be able to get a Liberian. Yes, you can do that.
So what are the requirements? What do you need to have?
Off my hair, I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, off my hair, I don't know. Yeah, but with this law, anyone that is born of a Liberian parent, whether it's father or mother, that person is a Liberian.
So you can get automatically issue passports?
Yes. All you have to do is to show your parent your parent birth certificate. That's all you have to do. So let's say you born a child here. That child is a Liberian. If that child wants a Liberian passport, they have to show their mother. Oh, my mother's a Liberian. This is my mother's birth certificate, and that's it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So and who prerogative is there in my Eminent Wettee? Who prerogative is there? So I have if I have an American passport and I have a Liberian passport, on the side of American, is there an issue? Do you guys address that?
No, there's no issue. The American recognize dual citizenship. There's no issue. There's no issue.
Oh, so the American, when I say you You got an American passport and at the same time it's not an issue, right?
No, it's not issue.
Okay.
In fact, 4 weeks ago, the State Department officer came to our program and said that it's not an issue. We are not the only country that has dual citizenship law. There are countries around the world that have it. That's a common law.
Okay.
Mr. Wettee, let me do follow up on, just for clarity, on that, on the law stating that you can't ask a person of their Liberian citizenship, and correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Now I need a little clarity on that. So let's say if it's like a public knowledge that that person isn't, since you can't ask based on the wording, can you like tell that person that they're denied because they're not Liberian citizenship if you know and it is public knowledge?
Okay, so it doesn't matter whether you told the person aware, they got all the proof and everything. The law said if I'm there in the Senate, you can't ask that question. Period. You can get all the proof. You are not allowed to ask the question. So it would not be asked. It would never be asked.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, is there? Let me come back to you, Mr. Boda. I don't know if I've already taken you, but do you have any additional questions?
Well, yes. Mr. Wettee.
Yes, boss.
So, all of these constraint that is on the law, as we see as a Liberian, in regards to me processing my paperwork, I had to go through this, go through that. How long are we going to go through this?
No, I mean you as a Liberian, there's no paperwork. If you want to get your passport, it's the same normal process. In fact, right now, the Liberian government, they are opening more passport centers in the United States and other parts of the world. So in every area, they got a passport center that you can, just like any other country, you can go get your passport, your Liberian passport.
So, like I asked earlier, in my earlier question regarding birth certificate, all the required thing that is required, because I know many of us here came as a refugee.
Yeah, to get your birth
on a different situation. You don't have all of these things, and now you have on your passport, American passport, it says place of birth, and it says Liberia. Wouldn't it serve as evidence to you being able to qualify instead of getting all the required documents?
What
is that something that you consider?
That's my knowledge. This is what I know. When you go to, this is what I know. If you born a child here in America or in Canada, the child is a Liberian. If your child want a passport, the embassy will say, "Look, show your mother birth certificate. Show something that your parents are from Liberia." That's it.
No, I'm talking about we ourselves as a Liberian who are naturalized in another country.
Yeah.
Who doesn't have that birth certificate or required some, like many people don't have birth certificate. Like I don't have my birth certificate yet.
That's correct. But
so
I think
how does that play with me if I need if on my passport it says place of birth I say Liberia on my foreign passport? Wouldn't it serve as something that will clear that I'm a Liberian?
Yeah, but I just want to say that the embassy or the consulate of Liberia got rules and regulations how for you to establish that you're born, you're a Liberian. That is not part of our advocacy. They I mean, I think I've seen that they actually put it right that if you got 2%, I mean, they have their own rules, which I don't want to talk about. But okay. If you don't have your birth certificate, if you contact the embassy or the consulate, they will tell you what to do to rectify that. They will tell you.
Okay, thank you. But I was asking that because many people just think that because the law was passed, so automatically you can just go on and do whatever as a Liberian. No, you have to go back and get all your passports.
You are qualified to apply. If you don't have a passport, there's a process how to get your passport.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Wettee. I have I think this question you've already addressed it, but I want you to clarify it for our audience on the restrictions for foreign for Liberian that got foreign citizenship in a bulleted format. Can you tell us what are the restrictions on in the dual citizenship laws?
Okay, there's a you cannot be Minister of Defense, you cannot be a governor of the National Bank, and you cannot be Finance Minister.
Those are the only three restrictions.
Yeah, those are the only three for appointed position.
So what about elected position?
You can't be president, you can't be vice president, you can't be a lawmaker, you can't be in the House of the Senate. However, if you want to run, you have to resign, you have to go to the election commission and go through a process 1 year prior to election. So the limitation on appointed position, it reads, a Liberian who holds the citizenship of another country should not be eligible for the appointment of the public office of the Minister of Finance and Development, Minister of Defense, and Executive Governor of the Central Bank. But it is on page 5. Those are the three positions that you cannot be, you can hold.
Thank you. If you guys don't have any other question, I will continue with my follow-up questions.
Yes,
Yeah, you have a question? Okay, go ahead.
yeah, where you have the document, Mr. Wettee?
I emailed to you guys. It's also on the ULAA website. It's also on New Dawn website. So if Johnson can send you all, it'll be fine.
I have another follow-up question.
Okay.
So if a Liberian woman have a child by a Lebanese, is that child a Liberian?
Yeah, according to the law, the child is a Liberian. However, we're just discussing the fact that the father is not a Negro. I mentioned that there's a committee, the immigration, the Senate, the House, and everybody is working on how to address that. But for now, we're going with the theory that once a Liberian, always a Liberian. So there's a serious committee on it that try to address that when it come out.
So, Mr. Wettee, can you go back to the point? I mean, letter position. You stated that you cannot have a letter position. What can you clarify that? I didn't get that part. Letter position, like senator, representative, vice president.
Senator, representative, president, vice president.
Okay, so we can be elected in those positions.
You cannot. If a Liberian dwelling cannot be. However, if you want to, there's a process that you can go through to relinquish your other citizenship. There's a process. However, let me say for the record, the Supreme Court says that even if you know this person is a Liberian, the Supreme Court says that only a court can say you are not a Liberian. So if I want to go after you, I can carry the court and I have to prove to the judge that you're not a Liberian.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you can run to be representative, a senator.
Yeah, if you want to, you can run.
Until you are challenged.
Very good, thank you. Until you are challenged, and if you are challenged, it can't be in court. It's not anybody. Even you yourself, if you even hear your passport up, you still a Liberian. Only a court can say you are not a Liberian.
Thank you very much. And let me ask you a question on the once a Liberian, always a Liberian. What if someone argues that statement in itself is not true? And they say that, and the argument is, if I was born Liberian with all of the privileges as a Liberian, that includes my appointment for public offices or running for public offices, but now I took on another country's citizenship, a foreign country citizenship, I come back with these restrictions on the dual citizenship that qualifies me as a second-class citizen. So once a Liberian is not always a Liberian, so it's probably you can be a second-class Liberian. So how would you counter that argument?
Well, first thing is that the law did not say natural born Liberian. This is where the conflict comes from. The law say a Liberian. the law did not say
Mhm.
a natural born Liberian. The law did not say, the law says a Liberian
Mhm.
who holds the citizenship of another country. The
Mhm.
law did not say natural born Liberian.
Okay.
So
So
this is what the critics are saying. It's not true. Because in Liberia, we are two. You
mhm.
either a natural born
Mhm.
or you're naturalized.
Okay.
But in the law, it said a Liberian. It did not say a natural born Liberian. So you are not a second class citizen. You are a first class citizen and more than first class citizen. Your Liberian nets are being restored.
Your Liberianness has been restored, and here is the
Yes.
argument that makes you a second class Liberian, or, for lack of better words, or Liberian with restrictions. Before you had all of these privileges, but now you do not have them because of the dual
Yeah.
citizenship
Okay.
restrictions.
Who are you talking about?
I'm
Are you
talking
talking
about.
natural born
I'm
Liberian
using
or
the word in the.
naturalized Liberian?
I'm using the wording in the law, or Liberian.
A Liberian, yes.
So, or Liberian, as it is, or Liberian, you are
Yes.
entitled to all of those privileges that comes with being a Liberian.
Mhm.
Given if whether you're or naturalized Liberian, you are entitled to those privileges, or a natural Liberian by birth, you're entitled to those privileges. But after the dual citizenship law, those things are taken away.
No, it is
That
not. The law says
mhm,
who holds. So if you want to be, if you so
mhm.
desire that you want to be governor of the national bank, there are other things that you can do to
Can I
change
For
that.
interrupt?
example, for example,
You can go and relinquish your other citizenship. If you think the only job in Liberia is to be minister of planning, to be minister
Defense.
of yeah, then you take that initiative and relinquish your other citizenship. That's your right to do that. But how about the medical doctors? Why are we in Liberia just focused on finance minister, governor? How about the medical doctors? How about the businesses? How about the teachers? How about those Liberians that don't care about the position? Are we not recognizing them? Why
thank
are we
you,
only focused on the three government jobs?
thank you,
How about the
thank
engineers that are going back home? Why
thank you, Mr. Whitey.
focus on minister finance,
Thank you very much.
defense, and governor?
We have exhausted our time for this brief break, and when we come back, we will give you the opportunity to close out, and also the panelists to give any closing remark or any closing comments on this discussion. But for now, let's take a very brief break.
At Fatu's, we know what it's like to feel a little homesick. That's why we work hard to bring you the very best and freshest imported foods and supplies from home. With quality design African cloths, beauty supplies, and tasty African food items, you'll feel right at home. So what are you waiting for? Stop by Fatu's African International Market for all of your household and family needs. See you soon.
Welcome back. You're still here watching the Hard Zone on the Liberia Radio and Television Network. My name is Derek Yale, and thank you so much, guys, for staying with us this far. And we would like to ask you to please, if you have any question, any comments on this discussion concerning, and specifically on the dual citizenship law in Liberia, please let us know in the comment section, or you can contact the LRTN on Facebook or on YouTube. But for now, let's try to draw the curtain to this episode. Before we can do that, let's bring you the icebreaker round for this episode, season 3, episode 3 of the Horizon. In the icebreaker round, let me get my panelist contribution. So, Mr. Wettee, you are our special guest tonight. The icebreaker round is where we give a very general question outside of the discussions and have our panelists to give their take on it. So if you want to participate in that, we will appreciate that. But you have the option to. But we'll do the icebreaker round, and then after we will take closing comments, closing questions, and we will give you the opportunity to close this episode. Let's begin. The icebreaker round is, tell us, the audience, tell the horizoners, your favorite refugee memory. If you do not have any, you're free to digress or share with us any favorite experience or whatever. But tell us about your favorite refugee memory, and I will get the ball rolling on this one. I was on the refugee camp in Danane, La Cote d'Ivoire, and it was this one day that my brother and my cousin, my cousin and myself, right across the street from the refugee camp was like a mountain, and we decided that evening to go walk around and climb the mountain. And for some reason, when we like, went for a couple of miles climbing the mountain, there is this chicken that was like this shake the tree, and I'm telling you, the speed we took from that mountain back to the refugee camp.
The
So
chicken wow in the tree shaking.
the chicken crawled in the tree and it just made that sound because they had a funny story about Jenna in the mountain.
Oh
We thought that
wow.
was the Jenna, and we and we ran from there. So that's one of my favorite, and that's the one I tell a lot. But again, let me give you guys the opportunity if you want to share with us and the audience or your favorite refugee memory. And I see Mr. Collins. I feel like you have one on your lips right now. So let me give you the opportunity to do so.
Um. Well, so my favorite when I was in Danane, during the April 6th. So we were like one, two, three, four, three families. We were looking for a place to rent. So luckily for us, a friend of ours managed to find this Yakuba family, and this man, he had a compound like. So we were three families, me, my family, my husband, his family, and my husband's friend and his family, and the other guy, his family. So we took this compound. But this guy, our landlord, every day, every week, he would say we should pay rent when we pay for the first 3 months, because we didn't know how long we were going to stay there and how long the war was going to last. And then we paid for the first 3 months. But every week, he would say we should pay. So I said, but so one day I asked him, I said, why are you asking us every week for money and we already pay 3 months in advance? He said, because y'all Liberian people, y'all got money and y'all eat 3 times a day. And we used to eat 3 times a day. And Ivory Coast, they have food.
On the refugee camp?
No, on the camel.
Oh,
We're
okay.
renting.
Wow.
Yeah, so we used to like eat 3 times a day. So in the morning we'll have cassava gravy, we'll have our lunch, and then we'll have our dinner. So he said we got money. We got money. So every week he would say we should pay money in advance. Then the funny part was one day he said, and you have to pay for the light bulb. You have to pay the electricity bill is like paying for a bulb. So he put a bulb and then he turned it off. He said we have to pay for the bulb. Now he put it going to the bathroom. So we told you, you're the one supposed to put the light to the bathroom. Why we have to pay for the light bulb?
Right.
But we had fun there though. It was fun. But we still wanted to come back home.
Thank you very much for sharing that story with us. I haven't heard of electricity bill someone paying for just the light bulb. That's a very interesting story. Yes, Mr. Jai Winkin, we are. Let me give you the opportunity to share with us your favorite refugee story.
I remain Monrovia, Liberia, in good time throughout the war.
Thank you. So you don't have any. So you're just gonna listen to all of these interesting stories. You know what? If you want, I can give you the opportunity to close out because I know time is fast spent for you. Do you want to give us your closing remark?
Yeah, I can do that.
Okay.
What I have to say is that I'd like to thank the guys who work on the dual citizenship. Mr. Wettee, thank you very much. Even though no matter what it was, or no matter what they say, people will still ask questions, people will still question, but it was a good move. It is good that Liberians are realizing that we are all Liberians. People left Liberia because of condition, not because they don't love Liberia. They left Liberia because of opportunity that allows them to also support Liberia through remittances. So we should all make it better. Tonight, I will not talk about politics, but because we are talking about Liberianization, all of us should hold together and do what is best for Liberia. Our problem in Liberia, it is not a question of who is a citizen and who is a foreigner. It's our failure to really learn from our mistakes and follow the rule of law. When we have rule of law, nobody will focus much about who is a Liberian or not. When we all play by the rules of law, then of course we'll have a better country. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Jawinkin. It's always a pleasure to have you on this show. Our audience and ourselves here, we do appreciate all of your contributions. And again, it's always fun to have you around, Mr. Jawinkin. But now let's come to you, Mr. Martin Boda. We'll go back to our icebreaker round. Tell us your favorite refugee experience.
Oh, I highlight, man. One of my favorite refugee experience was when I went to the Liberian Galley in Ghana. I mean, it was just a memory that I can never forget. So it was a nice place. And I went to Agasomo Dam to see for real for myself. Those are like moments that I can never forget. Those are a favorite moment from my time in Ghana. And a very incredible sight.
You are on the Buduburan camp?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. And let's come to you, our special guest here tonight. If you want, you can share with us your favorite refugee memory, and then I will go back to our panelists for their closing, and then we will give you the opportunity to close for all. But first, give us your favorite.
Yeah, like Mr. I never had the experience. I remain in Liberia.
So you the whole time you're just fighting for dual citizenship, huh?
The interesting thing, I came from China November 7th of that year, and the war started December 24th. And I was on the island, Bourgeois Island, until I left the country in 1991.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Now, guys,
but this is my classmate. If our president of the class, and we had a strike. I was expelled from BWI 1983, and I came back 84 and graduated. So maybe I want the memory. Yeah.
Well, thank you for sharing that. Thank you for sharing that with us. And guys, you're watching us. This is the Liberia Radio and Television Network bringing to you another episode, another season of the Horizon. We are here with Martin Boda, Elizabeth Collins, Mr. Jawinkin. We are the Lord Mayor of Bentor, Bobby Mitchell Crawford, and we have a special guest tonight, Mr. Eminent Emmanuel S. Wettee. It has been a very fruitful discussion. And guys, let me not leave you out in the audience. Give us your favorite refugee memory in the comment section. We'll be sure to highlight that during the course of the show. But for now, guys, let me give you guys the opportunity to close out on this episode. We have had a very, very great, intriguing conversation on the dual citizenship law in Liberia. But for now, it's time that we draw the curtain on this. So I would like to start with you, Mr. Martin Boda. Give us a closing remark on the discussion tonight, and then after Mrs. Collins, you can go ahead. Mr. Boda.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity. I just want to thank my brother Wettee, for such a hard work in the committee and those that work along with you. It's not an easy task to move the curtain to the height that you guys took it to. So it's a pleasure that you guys were able to make it through. And we just ask every Liberian to have an open mind. Our people are kind of troubled because of past history, but we're getting there, and we say thank you. Let us respect each other, and if we want to develop Liberia, we have to have an open mind. Let other people come in. Let we come to America. I mean, we see how they accept us, even though we have some blocking the way, but that's how America is developing. So if we want to move forward, we need to accept all the nationals who come in. It just don't have to be black people. So that's my take, and I want to thank the panelists for tonight and our host, Derek. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Boda. It's always a pleasure to have you here on the Horizon, and I really enjoy you and Bobby back and forth. So I wish he was here to hear that. But again, thank you so much for being with us tonight. Now, Mrs. Collins, it's your time. Talk to us. Give us your closing remark on this episode.
Always. I want to say thank you for the opportunity. Thank you, Mr. Emmanuel Wettee, Eminent Emmanuel Wettee, my senior brother, my Booker Washington Institute brother, And I always love his smile. He always smiling. He always loved to smile. Kudos to you guys. You did really well. I mean, to come this far with that document and the dual citizenship. I mean, I really appreciate it. I mean, if I had inadequate enough to express how grateful and appreciated, some of us are, not everybody, but at least we are getting there. The beginning of everything is a process, and I know we're gonna get there. We just want to encourage all Liberians to approach the issue with an open mind. Liberian is not. We just have to understand and appreciate what somebody is doing and understand it. And if you don't understand it, ask questions, and maybe they can be able to explain it to you better. But for us to, so that, and you guys, like what you just said, you guys had a tough time, the brothers there trying to castigate you. Or who are you? You want to hold the white man land and can't land? Where were you? And all the questions and put you all through insult and answer. But you stood the test of time. And I want to say thank you and appreciate you. And I want to say thanks to all my panelists. Today was a very good discussion, a very fruitful. Today we're not talking no politics, we're talking about our land. And so I want to say thank you, Mr. Yale, for having us. And we hope to be back next week.
We will definitely see you here next week because the Horizon is here every week. So, but again, thank you so much, Mrs. Collins, and we always, just like every other panelist, appreciate your contribution. You bring a different flavor to our conversation here, and we really do appreciate that. Before I come over to you, our special guest tonight, Mr. Wettee, let me say what all of the panelists have already said. You guys have fought a great fight. And on behalf of this show, this network, I'd like to say thank you so much for you guys, your advocacies, and getting all this far. Me personally, I'm a big supporter of a group of people picking a cause and advocating for it. Though I have my reservation on the dual citizenship law, some of which were expressed to net throughout my questions, but again, you guys fought for a good cause, and I must say that I'm grateful for that. Now, before I give you the opportunity to close, let me just squeeze in one last question concerning ALCOD, the Alliance for Liberian Association. No, ALCOD, the group that came together to have the discussion on the dual citizenship law. Now, do you guys have other causes that you're currently advocating for? I know you mentioned the Negroes
other
component
country
to it.
voting.
Okay, the other country voting. So
Yeah.
if you would like to share that with our audience before you give us your closing remark, I would appreciate that. But I will turn this over to you. Thank you so much. It's been a great time having you on the Horizon, and we hope to see you another time. But again, give us a
That's
closing.
great. Yeah. Before I close, I want to recognize my PWI sister, and I'm very happy to see you on campus. You're very quiet. I see that you're very active, so that's a good thing. But thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you.
To you. Yeah, we are advocating, like I mentioned, we want to constitutionalize the once a Liberian, always a Liberian, and we're talking about all the country voting. Those are two things that we'll be looking forward to. But just to end, I want to say thank you to all of you. This staff, a very good show, the friendliness and the interaction was very great. Thank to our supporters out there, those in the Senate, those in the House, Councilor Bodan, President. We are everybody that all of our partners, ULAA, FLUFF, Colosua, Liberian Advocacy for Change, Liberians in Australia, Liberians in Ghana, all of our sympathizers, all of our supporters, and everybody, that made this thing happen. And we know we are just happy the Liberian people accepted us. And advocacy is not an event. Advocacy is a process. The next generation can come and continue the advocacy for the other, the Negro club. But thank you all very much. It was great. It was fun, and I enjoyed myself. Thanks very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Wettee, and take our greetings from this network, from this show, back to ULAA and also ALCOD. But it was great having you here. Well, for now, guys, those of you watching us, we will take a very brief break, and when we come back, we will bring you an announcement that will be just me on the screen, and then after that, we will draw the curtain to this episode. But guys, again, it's been a very, 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 very interesting conversation tonight. Thank you so much for your contribution. But for now, let's take a very brief break and bid good night to all of you guys. Welcome back, guys. You're still here watching the Hot Zone, but we are at the very, very end of this episode 3, season 3 of the Hot Zone. Before we draw the curtain to this episode, let me bring you the announcement we have for you. Beginning with the Multicultural Community Family Services is inviting you to a Calabash Pantry. Again, they're inviting you to a Calabash Pantry every first and third Tuesday at between 12 noon and 4 p.m. in room 26A, 7016 Terminal Square, Upper Darby, PA, and the zip code is 19082. Again, this is an invitation to a Calabash Pantry. In other news, we are bringing in the Liberia Association of Pennsylvania, that is LAP, is having a panel discussion on the prevention and also awareness of sexual assault. So that program will be carried out by LRTN, and you can always follow this network on YouTube and Facebook. Again, that is the Liberian Association of Pennsylvania bringing to you a panel discussion on the prevention and awareness of sexual assault. The last announcement we have for you here is an invitation asking you to save the date of the Liberia Independence Day celebration between July 22nd and July 23rd of this year. That will be held in Trenton, New Jersey. And that event will feature a soccer match between the traditional IM Barrow and also a kickball between Trenton versus Philadelphia, after party or cookout, and you name it. So this Liberia Independence Day celebration will be in Trenton between July 22nd and 23rd. So that's what we have for you from our announcement photo on this episode in this show. My name is Derek Yallet, and we will see you next week with a brand new episode of the Hot Zone. But until then, please do have a pleasant weekend.
Tanyana, baby, can one for the banana. Baby, you sweeter than Kalama. Girl, you sweeter than Shawama. Oh, Tanyana, baby, can one for the banana. Baby, you sweeter than Kalama. Kali, you sweeter than Shawama. Oh, Tanyana, one on the beat for me. I don't mind if you fire to the early morning. Diana gave it to me, Soji. Oh, baby, why you know the best now? Baby, why you know the best now? Tanyana, baby, can one for the banana. Baby, you sweeter than Kalama. My baby, sweeter than Shawama. Oh, Tanyana, baby, can one for the banana. Baby, you sweeter than Kalama. My baby sweeter than Shawama. I
dey buy my baby Gucci and Prada. The way how she dey step, you know that she a fire. She give it to me while she know they ever tire. I dey be teacher, they make up from kaya. My baby come give me hot shots. I give her the connection like a hotspot. Make man them chase her like escort. No time for the bed, we take shortcuts. My baby pretty, I'm so lucky. Bend down for one corner, make me sticky. You know she biggie, and she heavy. She say too sweet, now you they make
Tanyana, baby can one for the banana. Baby you sweeter than kalama, my baby sweeter than shawama. Oh, Tanyana, baby can one for the banana. Baby you sweeter than kalama, my baby sweeter than shawama.
I can't deny